What was the weirdest thing the weird kid did at school? She wrote a list of all the girls and boys she wanted to kiss and murder and then casually passed it out on the playground. This one kid wore cheap button-down collar shirts to school every day, and he would only ever button the top button and let the shirt billow around him when he walked. He would stated that he was convinced by doing this every day it would catch on and he'd start a trend in the school and be popular. He was forever alone on that hill lol. Impressively imitated the barking of a dog. Really sounded like a dog with a deep, fierce bark, not like a middle school student. Weird kid in elementary was a self-proclaimed alien. Once, while waiting for the bus, she told me, "On my planet we eat people like you," and proceeded to bite me. We later became friends in high school and she used to give me massages during lunch break in the quad. Just realized now she was likely tenderizing me. 3rd grade. Whipped his dick out while we were sitting on the mat. Did not say anything, just sat there as the teacher processed what was happening. There was a kid who used to eat erasers and growl at other kids. A wild kid activated a fire hose and started blasting everyone that came his way. Students, teachers, didn't matter. There was a girl that pretended to be a horse and make horse noises, and she also would draw pictures of all the guys' faces in detention with their bodies as half goat/horse with very detailed massive male genitalia. She was a really good artist lol. He didn't say much, but if asked, he would go to the front of the class and perform tiptoe through the tulips with all of the emotion and volume of Tiny Tim, holding nothing back. In 4th grade, one kid got so angry at something, maybe the work we were doing, he gripped his pencil as hard as he could, started yelling/moaning, and stuck the sharp end of the pencil square into his forehead. In 1st grade there was this kid who stood by the sink in the back of the classroom eating bits of those brown paper towels. The teacher was constantly telling him to stop eating them and go back to his seat. I remember one time he wore like 8 Nintendo controllers from his belt, carrying a stack of D&D books, and a large clay medallion with runes he made. The year after September 11th, he reassured us he had a lot of aluminum foil, plastic wrap, and duct tape in his locker in case a dirty bomb went off in Manhattan. He got bullied a lot but did alright with classmates in honors and AP classes. I was a bit afraid of him, but I also didn't want to bully him and we got on fine. He did get suspended in middle school for brandishing a butter knife at a bully during lunch. SND junior year he brought a hunting knife, again to brandish at a bully, which led to another. I really don't think he intended to use it. He just wanted to scare this guy off. He's an engineer now, married with a baby. Looks happy and healthy on Facebook. I was glad to see it. He was always nice to me. That one kid once went for a poop. He collected it in a bottle, put milk on it and went back into the classroom with his bottle of cocoa. He then proceeded to offer it to others. And to the teacher. He is a senior physician now. Being weird did not harm him. He's an engineer now, married with a baby. Looks happy and healthy on Facebook. I was glad to see it. He was always nice to me. There are 2 that come to my mind. It just so happens that they were also good friends with each other. The first one I remember chasing girls around the school with his penis out. This was when we were pre-teens. The second guy joined our class when we were early teens, and the 2 became best friends. One time, the teacher said something to the line of, "The back table, out," because they were annoying her. These 2 fucker decided to open the window and throw the table out. Edit, when I say preteen I mean around 8 or 9. In my native language you become a teenager at 11, I sometimes forget that in English it's 13 and up. The weird kid in my school, who was also a friend of mine, had really bad dry scalp during the winter months. He would vigorously rub his hair to get some relief from the itchiness and in the process would end up with lots of dead skin on his desk. One girl looked over as he was doing this and loudly said "Ew," and he, wanting to make a statement, gathered up all the dead skin in a line-shaped pile and snorted it like it was a massive line of cocaine. He was kicked out of class. Ran out of the class and I guess attempted to leave school or something. A bunch of teachers chased him. I could hear running out in the halls and teachers asking where he went. The door to the class was closed but there was a window. Quite a bit later I look up and I see him at the little window and he just looks at us and licks the window and runs away again, and I see a couple teachers run after. He drove around the basketball courts, following the lines, on an imaginary bus. He'd stop to let people get on/off the bus and then drive them to their stops, and we walked in a line behind him. When he stopped walking he'd mimic the door opening and closing and wouldn't let you on/off if you didn't wait for the signal. Salutations Ben the bus driver, I hope you achieved your dreams. Wasn't the weird kid, but one of the craziest things in general that happened at my high school was this: it was the younger brother of one of my good friends. My friend was a grade higher than I was, and when he graduated his younger brother was a freshman. Being a senior at my school, if you only needed a couple credits to graduate, you weren't required to stay the whole day. I normally left for the day at like 11:30 to 11:45. I'm driving home to get ready to go to work for a couple hours with my dad when I get a phone call from my mom, and she is freaking the hell out, almost crying and hyperventilating. Once she calmed down, she was able to explain to me that there was a shots fired call that happened shortly after I left. Come to find out, my friend's younger brother had gotten dumped by his girlfriend the day before and said that he was going to do something stupid so that she would feel responsible. So he brought a pistol, his brother's pistol actually, the next day, and he emptied the clip into the school's sports trophy case. Not quite sure whatever happened with him, but I know that he had to sit in a psyche ward for almost 2 years. I don't think he had any criminal charge filed against him, as he didn't hurt anyone. But that's the craziest thing that happened at my high school. In middle school there was this chick named Katie used to eat her panty strings in class. Like she would pull strings from the elastic part of them and eat it. Had a kid who would take a piece of girl's hair and pick it off their head, then put it in a ring box and keep it for years. Okay, so I had a kid at my school, not particularly bad but just annoyed the everything out of me, because I was the only one nice to him. He would follow me everywhere, randomly grab me for no reason, hug me and not give me any personal space. But here comes the worst part. We have school swimming lessons, and you could either get changed in the change rooms or the toilets/showers. Since I am a shy person, I would always use the showers to get changed. Figures he followed me in there, got dressed outside my door, and just when I was leaving my cubicle, he was just there, dancing naked. I died inside that day. Said absolutely nothing to anyone besides I like cows for about a month. Anything you said to him, regardless of the context or situation. I like cows. You know how there's horse girls. This girl was obsessed with babies. Like being a mom or even acting like a baby. I already knew her as the weird girl. Then I got paired up with her for a semester as lab partners. Let me tell you, she was so much weirder than I thought. Constant questions about if I wanted to be a mom too in my body. She always had a pacifier with her, and would constantly chew or suck on it. She would switch between mommy days and baby days. Like one day she would come in and act like a mother. Talk about her baby in extreme detail. Other days she would come in and just baby talk. It was so cringy. Things got significantly worse when she found out I was a babysitter. After that she became obsessed with me. One girl used to run/gallop around the playground on her own, pretending she was a horse. This is at too old an age for the rest of us to be doing this, think 14/15ths. She got a medicine degree and is doing her surgical training at the moment. I bumped into her in a hospital after over a decade. All I could think of to say was, "Do you still love horses?" She laughed and said she had her own horse now. Figures. There was this pair of boys in the year above me in high school who used to make dirt bike noises everywhere they went. Lasted months. You'd randomly hear them coming down the stairs. Dwaye Dwaart Dwaye. A kid I grew up with started wearing homemade chain mail to school our freshman year of high school. Every day. For all 4 years. He was always pretty odd, but he was nice enough. Plus we had a few classes together through middle school and we had connected over a shared love of a few video games, so I felt comfortable asking him why he started wearing it all of the sudden. He proceeded to explain the defensive benefits of chain mail versus both sharp and blunt instruments of harm. For like 5 solid minutes. Daggers. Pikes, hammers. Even how curved blades like katana and falchions would struggle against it. I basically just shrugged and told him, makes sense. And we both went to our classes. I don't know what I expected, but I guess it wasn't the basic defensive benefits that armor offers. We had an unofficial Harry Potter fan club in high school and Deathly Hallows had just been released. Someone started this whole gossip/rumor that Harry dies at the end, which he actually does, but of course a lot goes on after that which the fan club didn't know about. One of the girls heard about it and tried to commit suicide by throwing herself off the 3rd-story building. We all saw it and 2 of the male teachers had to get her off the window while she was screaming, "If Harry is dead, I have no purpose." Needless to say, she got suspended and the club was disbanded. Edit. Wow. I didn't expect this much of response. To answer some, this isn't in US and it was a convent all-girls school. She blew her nose into her hand and then licked it while looking me in the eyes. She actually wasn't too weird. Aside from that, I have no idea WTF it was. I just turned to the noise and saw that he brought a blow-up doll to our farewell dance, senior prom in the USA, as his date. Complete with fishnets and everything. He brought a blow-up doll to our farewell dance, senior prom in the USA, as his date. Complete with fishnets and everything. Pair of creepy twins who would pick the gum off the bottom of the desks and eat it, attempt to hump the desks and coat pegs, and were obsessed with flashing people, teachers included. One time he kept saying, "My best friend, peaches in a bowl," over and over again and didn't stop. He's probably still saying it 40 years later. He called in a fake bomb threat because he was bored. The police showed up and cuffed him in front of the whole classroom. He was suspended for 2 months, during which he had to sit in an empty classroom being watched by the principal herself. He told me afterwards that she asked him all kinds of weird questions, like what poppers are and how they work. So I think the weird kid was out-weirded by the principal. Edit. I'll add another anecdote because people seem intrigued by the story. A day or so before the bomb threat, he showed the class his disgusting, moldy lunchbox that had been lying in his desk for weeks. When the cops arrested him, they searched his stuff including his desk. When they took out this lunchbox, the whole class burst out laughing. The cops were very confused.